If you're going to be working on a certain day for 24 hours, divide the number of minutes by 1,000, it still is even not having access for 3 minutes to your files, that can be enough for you to really be annoyed or upset or nervous. Maybe you lost the file, maybe you lost the service, maybe you're going to lose work, maybe you just press save, and after you press save, it says, well, the server is not available, you just lost your data. It's really obnoxious. And people don't realize they don't have to do that. They could actually install it locally and have more control. And if something goes wrong, at least they know they're in control. But the way it works with the cloud, and there is a recent episode from one of our hopefully regular guests, Rusty. He was explaining you're completely helpless, which is the same language being used a lot by Richard Stallman to explain what people experience when they use proprietary software. If the software is broken, there is nothing you can do about it. You could not change the zeros and ones to fix that. So you're helpless. You basically have to beg the developers to fix the bug for you or to add something which you would deem necessary to your business. So yeah, basically, this is why I'm not a big fan of the Google type of Google branded machines too much, because I think they want a lot of control, and Linux is just a carrier for them to achieve that.
Well, moving on, if we have any other topics we want to cover for today's show, is there anything else you've got on your list?
Well, I don't think we've mentioned one of the things that happens with Novell now. I have a special interest in Novell, and people who've been following the past 5 years would know that I ran a site called Boycott Novell, a campaign which was trying to reform Novell, but failing to reform Novell. We have to ensure people don't actually give money to Novell, and instead give it to somebody like a Debian-based company, or even Canonical or Red Hat or something like that. So Novell was essentially being sold a while ago, and one of the things that happens now is almost all the managers leave the company, almost all of them, including all the C something O at the end. And the company's future, the future of SUSE is in the news right now, because the company has assigned a person to head the SUSE unit, and I'm trying to also assess what will happen with all kinds of antitrust cases and all kinds of court cases. So Novell has got two major cases to actually pursue in the courtroom. The first one, actually, that's the one less known to people, is the one against Microsoft. So even though Novell was in bed with Microsoft for a long time, they still had a case from back in the 90s against Microsoft. Now, I don't really know if Attachmate is willing to take this case forward, even though Novell has just had a bit of a victory there, a bit of a good motion. I don't really know if they want to do this litigation, so I'm hoping they will. And the other one is the SCO case, the SCO case. SCO is becoming TSG now, and it's becoming this UNXIS thing. I'm not even sure how to pronounce that. They try to change names, but in any case, they are still eager to kind of buy some more time and harass Linux with this kind of uncertainty about copyrights. In addition to the Microsoft basically banging on Linux with trolls and saying, oh, well, you infringe your patents and you're not free and you have to pay for patents as well as for if you pay anything at all. In some cases, they'll say even a free distribution cannot be free because you have to pay Microsoft for a license to use that. So basically, Novell has these cases in its hands, or used to have these things in its hands, and now it's being passed to another company. So we're not too sure what's happening with all those assets and products and things from Novell. And I found that's probably going too off topic now, but the company which bought Novell was communicating with this Elliott Associates, a hedge fund in the United States, I think based in New York. And what we found out now is that Attachmate is actually structured in a very mysterious way, where a company called Wizard Software, or Wizard or something, actually owns them and had to borrow money. And I probably have to go back and explain what was happening there, but the whole thing is a bit dodgy there, because a company was trying to force Novell into selling itself, okay, when Novell actually had some important cases in its hands. So a company like Microsoft would want to dismantle Novell as soon as possible. But the interesting thing here is that a hedge fund that's very notorious for being based in the Cayman Islands and having all kinds of very nasty history if you actually look at what they did before and what they still do even this week, trying to force companies to sell themselves. What was actually happening here? So this company is approaching attachment several months before it's forcing Novell to put itself on sale after buying some shares. And now that the company actually wants to buy Novell, it has to borrow money, and then all of a sudden it has this secret kind of entity that comes out of nowhere, and nobody knows what it's doing, communicating and interacting with all those hedge funds and whatever. It smells like I haven't found any comprehensive analysis of that, but the things that I found is things saying, oh, there is something mysterious going on here. This is what we know. But nothing is conclusive about it. And I think somebody's pulling some strings and trying to force Novell to be kind of thrown to the dogs or for the cases against Microsoft to be dropped or something like that.
Well, on that note, we've got some exciting things coming up for the next couple of shows. I don't know, Roy, before I end off the show in my usual Jerry Springer type way, I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to add or anything else you wanted to mention.
Yeah, well, before we close the show and do the music, one thing I should, and I believe you will introduce the listeners to what we'll have tomorrow, if everything goes well. What I think though is I had a conversation today in the gym for almost 2 hours. I didn't get much workout down, but I had a conversation about Apple with a couple of people who bought an iPhone, and it just kind of it came to me that we do have to start to be concerned with Apple because a lot of people do genuinely actually like Apple. I mean, I don't think we ever deny the fact that Apple, unlike Microsoft, does have some people who are really hardcore fans of Apple and actually identify themselves with people like Steve Jobs and at the company, and that they do try to brand themselves as being part of the company and part of the same brand. And they take it as personal insult if I say something negative about the hype or the marketing of Apple. And this is what happened. This is what occurred to me today. And I just thought we have to try and change the culture of silence in certain issues that get us lots of insults. And I know Mary Jo Foley used to reply to me about the trolls who were basically really trolling her, really just harassing her if she was criticizing Apple. The same issue we had before with Mono, basically. You didn't really want to speak about Mono. I wasn't sure if it's a case of self-censorship, maybe you worried about, or...
It was more of a case of it was a distraction for a subject which I thought was far more important. I was trying to put across the fact that I've dismissed Mono, and it's not an issue, or it doesn't have an impact on my desktop, and certainly it doesn't have an impact on anybody else.
I think lots of people I know, they're quite reluctant to say anything negative.
Oh, no, certainly not. I mean, I would, if I've got any views, I'll quite happily say them. It's just, I'm now at a point where I don't want Mono creeping into interrupting topics that I feel passionate about talking about, which
one of the other,
I did.
One of the other issues, when I criticize Apple at my side, occasionally I have those people signing up with an account just to insult me, basically, because I dare to insult their, the Messiah, Steve Jobs. And that kind of disturbs me in some ways, because they don't actually address the points. It just seems me some kind of a threat to their... It's a bit like Scientology in some ways, and that kind of troubles me. So the people I spoke to today, for a very long time, in fact, they were in the same... Actually, one of them was admitting there is this issue of people being snobs if they buy... And he was himself, in fact, buying Apple products, and he was capable of admitting the fact that he bought it for a status reason, because it's perceived to be more valuable. But I think we have to raise this issue a bit more often, even if it's a not so popular view. And I think lots of people don't think of bashing, or probably will call it bashing Apple, as a very safe thing to do, because they'll get some insults for it, or maybe will be described as something. I think it is important people will at least raise the fact that we have an issue here. If people are not capable of talking about subjects and talking about why is it people actually are willing to pay for the same hardware with a different logo, or even more money, with proprietary designs. The computers might look better, but they're very difficult to fix or to upgrade. Internally, that's the reason they look good, is because you don't actually try to accommodate change too much. So this is one thing. Actually, according to some people, today is rapture, today it's the end of the world, and things like that. And some people will not say anything about it because, oh, that's religion, we shouldn't touch that. And some people